Many Americans have been singing the praises of the Trump administration. Why? Well, for the incredible amount of accomplishments in the first 6 months alone.
But our next guest says there's still plenty of work to be done, writing an op-ed for Newsweek saying, quote, Republicans must stop blaming the deep state and start delivering results. Joining us now, the author of that op-ed and best-selling author and political commentator and friend of the show, Brilyn Hollyhand. So good to have you this morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Absolutely. So, Brilyn, the headline of your article really fired up many of our viewers because it's only the 6 months, right? And President Trump actually checked off so many accomplishments. So before we peel some of the layers of that onion, please explain what you mean by there's more to come.
Well, there absolutely is more to come, and as somebody that spoke on 20 college campuses for the president, I've got to say that Gen Z is getting exactly what we voted for. I couldn't be more excited for the 6 months of the golden age that we've seen so far, and I'm excited for the next 3.5 years of it. It has been promises made, promises kept down to a T, and we've had result after result after result. We're even starting to get things that we didn't even vote for, like Stephen Colbert's show getting canceled. I didn't vote for that, but it's happening, and it's an amazing thing to see. But I'll tell you this morning, John, where we stand today, I'm tired of the excuse of the deep state being used as a crutch by our party anytime it's time to actually start draining the swamp. I'll give you a perfect example. John Ratcliffe, an incredible person, friend of mine, former congressman, served as DNI under the president's first administration. Why are we just now finding out about some of the Obamagate stuff and the corruption and the crimes that administration committed by Tulsi Gabbard, the current DNI? That stuff could have happened in the first term. We were told then that the deep state was stopping us. We have no more excuses, and if we keep using that as a crutch going into the midterms, going into 28, we will lose, and it will be unfortunate. This is our time to stop using that to throw the crutch out and to actually get real lasting swamp draining done.
Well, I want to get into something you wrote about that may seem obvious, but is really crucial here. And I'm quoting from your piece. Republicans literally control Washington. Every lever of power that matters, from the White House to the House of Representatives to the Senate, is in our hands. The executive pen, the committee gavels, the agenda, the messaging, all of it. So, I mean, the majority is huge, isn't it, Brilyn? It's our time now. Otherwise, who knows what's going to happen in the next few years?
You're spot on. I mean, I just graduated high school about a month ago. I start college in a week or two. The first thing they teach you in government class is that there's 3 branches of government. On Capitol Hill, at the White House, and over at the Supreme Court. We have the majority in all 3. There is no excuse to sit here and say that somebody is stopping us. We can start replacing those appointees that have drug up the swamp in D.C. for way too long. It's an unfortunate situation, and the president has the power to do that, and he has the momentum, because the momentum's on our side here, and that's something that's super rare here. What I'll say about the whole situation, we've had, I think, probably 3 or 4 congressmen call me in the last week. Great people, all to come and, kind of take a victory lap again for the one big beautiful bill. Great bill, great piece of legislation I've been on this network promoting. But what I got to say is the time's passed for that. We've got more pieces of legislation to do. We should have a big, beautiful bill every quarter. Congress needs to be at work, not on vacation, and we have a really cool opportunity to do what we couldn't do in the first term. I mean, I might be young, but I'm old enough to remember the Paul Ryan days back in 2017, where the only thing that moved fast in Trump's first term was the debt clock. We can fix that this time, and we have the opportunity to.
Well, you mentioned how young you are, and you're off to college in Alabama. Not Roll Tide, folks. He's going to Auburn.
Where Eagle.
It's all good. It's all good. But as you just touched on, and as we discuss the current administration, let's really get into Gen Z, the demographic born between the mid-1990s and 2010s. Brilyn, you just turned 19, so this is your generation, which you grew up with, let's say, internet, smartphones, hyper social media, as though it's been around for like 50 years. So how did you actually get through, let's say, the sudden, like the mass chaos, the narratives that are out there, to actually gain control of your mind? But you seem, met your mom. She's laser focused. She raised you extremely well, but a lot of Gen Zers don't have that structure, but many of them are still actually starting to lean right. Why do you think that is?
They exactly are. Well, first of all, it's because the Democrat Party is a sinking ship of a party. Last November, Democrats actually have another candidate in the trash heap of history, and that's Kamala Harris sitting right next to Hillary Clinton. And thankfully, that's because Gen Z got off the sidelines and voted. And where we sit in this situation today, we have Kamala Harris going out and giving more speeches to Gen Z. That's just not going to work. The Democrat Party's strategy to win over my peers and I was to call our masculinity toxic, was to villainize us by demeaning us as Nazis, calling us Hitler Juniors when we gave speeches. Even Joe Biden, the week before the election, calling us garbage. You can't forget that. Then they're shocked that they lost the stronghold they had on the Democrats. I'll tell you this right now, though. Please, Democrats, please let Kamala Harris keep speaking. Please pay her to give these stump speeches. Please run her in 2028. We would love to see Kamala Harris face off against J.D. Vance, so once and for all, we can put the nail in the coffin of the Democrat Party. So hope you're watching this morning.
I mean, Gen Z, you got to give it to them. I think compared to the millennials, I'm part of that generation. You guys know what's up. And I want to specifically get into a fascinating poll by Pew Research. 52% of male Gen Zers that were polled now lean Republican, while just 34% say they lean left. I mean, that's a massive 18% swing. So your reaction there, Brilyn?
It's huge. So first of all, the big way that Republicans actually made gains with Gen Z was this really novel concept called talking to them. I traveled to 20 college campuses. The president traveled to college campuses. Kamala Harris, the Democrat Party, even back to Hillary Clinton, ignored college students and high schoolers. That's why they lost their vote. They had these empty promises. They, held shiny things, free things and emotions in front of Gen Z. And finally, we woke up, smelled the roses, and said, hey, guess what? They're actually not keeping their promises. So this cycle, it switched. And that's what the president's done. We started the segment by listing the promises he's carried. He has performed CPR on the American dream, and we're so thankful for that. That's how we have a shot at keeping Gen Z in 26 and 28 and making that our stronghold we have, not something that the Democrats have a monopoly on.
If Republicans just embrace who they are,
yes,
and know how to communicate, I think more and more young people will actually gravitate toward the party. Let me give you an example. I teach business at my alma mater, NYU. And on the first day, I put up a list of business management commandments. And at the top in bold letters, no socialism. You know what's next? We don't hug trees. We learn how to run efficient and effective businesses. And you know what? I don't get much pushback. Why? Because many people in your demographic, they want to learn how to make money. They want to learn how to run their own businesses. They want to learn how to build, and grow a real estate portfolio. And guess what? The Republican Party is the party of business, so they're all ears. What say you?
I 100% agree. It's really easy when our side looks very normal compared to the crazies over on the left. I mean, think of it this way, John. The figureheads of the Democrat Party right now are AOC and Jasmine Crockett. And on our side, we have strong, family-oriented, normal-looking people like J.D. Vance and Katie Britt. If you just take out pictures, print them, and put them in front of college students, I bet they're going to pick our side. It's pretty simple right now to be Republican. It's cool again, and it's really easy to go on campuses and say, hey, guys, look at the results of what you've seen in the past 6 months. The president leaned on Reagan's famous quote during the campaign. He went on college campuses, and he said, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Well, I was with the president 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said, sir, you can change that up. All you have to do now is say, are you better off than you were 6 months ago? Left or right, young or old, every person is going to agree.
Yeah. Brilyn, I am also working with a group, the Metropolitan Republican Club. We work with a lot of young people throughout New York, and a lot of them, I'm hearing the same complaint, are concerned about Zohran Mamdani. We were talking about it before, but they're saying, what can we do? Because he has a stronghold with respect to TikTok, Instagram, X. He's everywhere, and his videos are very catchy despite his cringy DJ video that was released. People don't care. They love his viral videos, but the Republicans, they're not, to your point, they're not really taking advantage of it as much. So how are you getting that message out there on social media and trying to help the other candidates who are trying to combat his messaging, which is very strong, free housing, free groceries, and the like?
we're going to use education to combat indoctrination. Unfortunately, in schools today, I mean, I just got my high school degree a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, in schools today, they're not teaching the actual disaster that socialism is and how it hasn't worked before. And I'll tell you, I've been shocked when I go on college campuses. The history nerd in me kind of comes out when I hear from these students of like, yeah, I was watching this TED Talk about socialism. We should really try it here. And I'm like, whoa, 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 it's been tried before and it failed every single time. I was speaking to a college student right here in New York just a day or two ago, and I told them that socialism works so well that people build rafts out of garbage to row themselves to America just to tell us about it. If you can find me one person that has fled a socialist country and tells me it works so well that they fled their country, left their life behind and their family, and came here and it works, let me know, but you're not going to find one. That is how we combat that message. That is the education to combat the indoctrination, and that's what the Republican Party hasn't done in the past. We can start that now.
Yeah.
That's so true, because the flow of people leaving socialist countries, it's one way. It's a one-way ticket.
Yes.
They don't book round trip.
I don't know
for
anybody
a
that's
reason,
ever gone
right?
to a socialist nation.
But
But
to your point, Brilyn, I think that I think it's very important for people your age to speak to other people your age.
Yes.
So that way, it's not just a top-down; it's more lateral in terms of dialogue. And part of that education, I think, needs to actually make its way into certain campaigns, where certain political campaigns need to embrace Gen Z, right? In terms of messaging with regard to social media and other events. So that way, it's not just focusing on an older or wealthier demographic, but also the youth. Why is that important? Because you are the future.
You're exactly right. That's why we had the president launch his TikTok account and all the work that was originally criticized by the media of why in the world is Donald Trump getting on TikTok? Why is he using social media again after he was banned from the platforms? That's how we got his message to Gen Z. Gen Z's not on True Social. Gen Z's not watching cable news, but they're sure watching TikTok on their For You page, and they see a reel of the president traveling to 4 or 5 states in one day. They say, I thought that guy had low energy. Maybe the fake news is really fake news, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, we need your help here. I know you're going off to college, but I hope you still, I'm sure you will, knowing you, Brilyn, but you'll still stay involved in the political process.
We're just getting started.
Exactly, and we're so excited to have you again this morning in studio. Brilyn Hollyhand, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. I appreciate you.
You too.